So let's talk real estate a little bit this morning. Grace Frank is back on the show, and have you figured this out yet? Grace does not like to come by herself.
No, I don't.
You have too many people who you want to highlight and showcase. So you have brought with you Laurel Wagner, who is with the Grace Frank group, but she's your kind of staging expert. Is that right?
She's actually, yes, she actually has a degree in it. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into it.
So we've been having this conversation off camera, and I want to touch on that part of it, Laurel, because I would imagine that when you go in to stage a home, you really have to take a good look at the bones of the house to know how to kind of bring out its character. Is that it?
We do. We focus on the architecture of the home and the spaces. I can do, and I do anything as little as decluttering a home to make the space more seem larger. And then I can go into, I do paint colors. Paint can do a world of difference. I've also done, with some clients, I have done countertops and cabinetry and light fixtures. So it can run the gamut from going in and decluttering, which is very important when you're trying to sell a home. But the psychological staging really focuses on the science of the virtual perception and also the emotional attachment that a buyer has to the home.
Okay, so, and that's going to somewhat, I'm sure there's a formula to it, but then some of it's going to be dependent on who comes and walks through the house, right?
Well, and the property itself.
Right.
Where it's at, the type of property it is.
Right. Sure, because if you're selling a historic home in Fort Wood, that's going to attract probably a different buyer than a brand new construction somewhere else, right? They're looking for different things.
Exactly.
But how much of it for you, Grace, is the relationship conversation? Because when people come to list their home with you, you can't look, I guess, just at the home. You've got to kind of know the seller too, to know what their comfort level is going to be. And if they have 3 kids and 2 dogs, how quickly can they clean up and get out of the house for a showing?
So, yeah, it's a little complicated. I mean, and everybody has a little bit different opinion about staging. Some it's just, if they're living there, that's different than if it's a vacant house. And so those are 2 different kind of complex processes, whether it's a vacant house and you're trying to make it feel lived in, or if it's a real lived-in house and you're trying to make it look less confusing.
Right.
And so people like to not be real personable, but at the same time you want to understand the personality of the house as well. So it's a real fine line. That's why I'm not a stager. I know what I do best, and I'm a good marketer of the property, a good negotiator. So I always bring in the professionals to do the staging. And I've had recently a client ask me, well, am I going to get my money back? And I'm like, typically, yes, because if a house is staged, it's going to sell faster.
Right.
And typically for more money because it feels better.
Right. So do you, when you come into stage, Laurel, do you sometimes or often use the pieces that the home seller already has there?
Yes, I prefer to do that. I can bring in other furniture, but I prefer to use what the seller already has. And touching on what Grace said, the average person will spend roughly around $2,700 on home expenses per month. So to pay a staging fee is minimal compared to what they're going to be spending per month. And if I have a 98% success rate of the home being under contract within the first 23 days of listing, if they follow my plan.
Wow. Okay, that bears repeating. In 23 days, a 97% success rate
98%.
if they adhere to your plan.
Exactly.
So do you meet with them and kind of give them your recommendation then of what to stage, or do sometimes they say, you know what, just do it, we'll be back at 5?
I've had both, and I've had people, I've one client with Grace that it was their mother's home, and they were very apprehensive to do anything, to change anything, because that's the way that they grew up. But to sell a home is completely different than how you live in a home.
We were talking a little bit about how there are trends in homes, and so some people still love the open concept plan. Some people are going more towards the individual rooms. You, though, do enjoy trying to create feeling
Yes.
when you stage a home.
Absolutely, absolutely. We did a wonderful home that was about 100 years old, and we did little vignettes, and so we did a little reading nook, and they had this massive closet, and we turned it into a playroom. So the bedroom could be like a teenager room or a nanny room with the little playroom right connected to it. So we just did little vignettes, and it was fun to do.
How often do you have a home seller say, oh, now that we see it this way, let's take it off the market?
I have had that happen before.
I can see that. Or a wife says to her husband, see, I told you we should have moved that chair, right? So your team, I got to let you run, but your team at Grace Frank is just that. You've got a whole team of people.
Oh, absolutely.
Start to finish.
Correct. Yep. We're very focused on customer service and high quality and concierge service, which is very important to make sure that every step of the way clients are taken care of and they have 5-star service.
Yeah, we kind of have referenced you as a boutique experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
here is where you will find her and Laurel and the whole team at the Grace Frank Group. They're on Georgia Avenue in downtown Chattanooga. 544-7156 is the phone number. And then there is the website. Grace is the master marketer, and she is very smart to bring this wonderful team together. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.